I got it from I
Give
got it
me
from
one.
Apollo. Yeah, I got it from Apollo. Let's look at main chat. Do you guys disagree with this judging criteria?
This is one for you. This shit.
All right. So, wait. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. Let me fix my audio.
Bro,
Hello?
you suck, nigga. Shut up, bro. Yeah, we can hear you, bro. We can hear you.
All right. Bet. All right. So, you know who I'm using? Garou.
Alright, so you want me to start?
Yo, if you need Garou skins, I got you, bro.
I'll start.
You want to
Uh,
start?
yeah.
Alright, no problem.
What does Cell do to just complete dirt and egg? Like, Gar has a technique where he can completely rupture the inside of your organs without really having to worry about damage on the outside.
Wait, which scans are you guys using? Like important scans or regular one?
We use regular.
You provide the scan of like that technique, like that explains that technique, so I can get some
Yeah, I
like
got you.
context and what works. Yeah.
I got you.
I got it, bro. Just look at scans, chat. This is like chapter 158. I'm
Bro, shut the fuck up.
trying to help your retarded ass, you dumb black bitch.
Nigga, I have the scan. Nigga, nobody asked for your dumbass help.
I already speak with you, bitch. What the fuck?
Wait, did you? Did you actually send the scan?
Yeah. Yes, dumbass thing. That's what. Yo.
Shit, my fault again. Nah, you got
Alright,
it. You
bro.
got it.
I'm trying to help
My
you, bro.
Nah, you got it. You got it. You got it. My fault. My fault. But yeah, it's called 5 Gen.
Wait, is that shit a? Is that like a beam?
No.
No, he punches him like he hits him like in his midsection through buildings. So like
Weird as
Saitama's
yeah.
like flying through the
I
air.
don't follow that. The paneling was weird, but that's fine. What was I gonna say? I
Okay.
guess it's like a palm strike. But yeah, what's his name? Cell just wouldn't get hit by this. You just dodge it.
Okay, why?
Well, Cell has the skills of what's it called? The Z fighters that includes Goku, and Goku learned to train his mental state to the point where even he surpassed someone who, despite earlier being physically equal to him, was completely unable to be like hit at all on some like Leave
Can you
Nation
send a
shit.
scan?
Yeah, I just sent him the fight. What's up? Goku actually Goku versus Alright, so Goku is like fighting like the doll who's got like equal physicals to him. Yeah, well, because like the doll has like a clear mental state, like he literally can't land a single hit.
Wait,
The
I'm
doll
I'm
is
I'm sorry. Sorry for cutting you off. Can you send the I meant to say, can you send a scan about like Cell, like about him
having.
learning from the Z fighters?
Okay, I'll get that.
Like whatever you were. Yeah.
Oh, here it is. I thought my opponent was gonna be okay.
Yo, what
That's
scans do
just
you need, bro?
no, I got it. I got it. It's like I don't have pick firms, but
Send me
yo,
the scans and demons, bro. Just send me the
uh,
scans and demons, bro.
I'll send you the scan. I'll just post the translation and shit. There's like the actual physical scan though.
Can you send it?
Yeah, Trouble's gonna send the physical scan, but here's the translation.
Where's the physical scan? Like where's the actual scan?
Trouble, could you send it?
It's right there, bro.
There we go.
Uh, oh, okay. Cells on it, summon from server. He's able to kill using it. Clues from. Okay, now what is exactly are you saying that Cell is copying from Goku here that he's doing? Can you re-explain that?
He's copying his what's it called?
Or are you saying
He's
he
copying.
would be copying?
Yeah, he would be copying Goku's battle sense, his ability to mentally process a fight.
Uh, okay. Well, first I want to ask you. To my knowledge, I know that Cell was created from like the different cell or DNAs of different character or the different the Z fighters. So I want to ask, do you not think it's possible for us to say like, okay, maybe the things that Cell is being made from is like innate like physical prowess instead of like something that's trained like that could be a technique? Because what's to say like Cell can do the same thing on his own if Goku like trained it as a technique,
Well,
like
it's
external
just
to his like physical potential?
it's just stated that observing like the physical traits, but rather the techniques here. For example, he can use key techniques that took the Z fighters a long time to learn, like a key on, for example. It's obviously not something they're
Okay,
born with,
well,
but they
it
learn.
does seem like the techniques here. Well, my bad. Let me also say this. It does seem like the techniques here are key based, which is
The
different
examples
from like
they use are key techniques, but in general, just
uh
says he's copied their techniques. I think that yeah, like key techniques would be an example of those, but the technique, I mean,
well,
the statement doesn't like differentiate or like specify only key techniques. It just says techniques in general.
I mean they're both techniques. I mean, wait, I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
I'm just saying the statement just says that he gets their techniques in general. I think key techniques are just used as an example of like the general amount of techniques that he gets.
And are you equating something like that like you can get over time from training that's not like related to it being an ability that's like a part of like your cells, which I know like relates to like life energy and stuff. Like, why isn't this ability like something Goku learn like absent of that, like something that's key based?
Can you repeat that?
Well, okay. It seems like the way Cell was created was he was manufactured in a way where it would make sense for him, like the techniques that he would be created by to be based on the Z fighter's like key potential, such as like why it says in his statement he's able to copy like this like destructo disc and like all types of these like key based like attacks and techniques, which is fine. But when it comes to something like other techniques that you learn outside of that, I don't think that Cell would be able to copy that if that's learned outside of like uh his own like innate potential with his DNA. Because all it says is that Cell is just like the reason he's able to copy these techniques or he knows these techniques is because he has like DNA that's linked to them.
Stuff. There's nothing saying that getting one's DNA wouldn't allow you to get techniques, like physical techniques, like hand to hand
Why?
or mental state, battle sense.
Wait, why?
There's
If
nothing.
wait, is it not linked to like wait, is Cell's creation not linked to like the key and like the cells and DNA and life energy of like the Z fighters?
No, yeah, he
Like, is
does
that
get.
not like how he was created?
Yeah, he gets this.
Yeah, so why is it so yeah,
What's
so why are we assuming that it can be something outside of just within that
wait,
realm of
wait,
key
first off,
techniques if he's created from that?
what's the differentiation of the key techniques like the Kienzan or destructo disc? What's the differentiation between shit like that and like battle sense and hand to hand? I don't see what the differentiation is because both.
Battle sense can be based on another things. I know for example, Goku has a precognition technique where like he can sense like airwaves and be able to predict attacks based on that, which you can argue can be a factor of battle sense because you're just focusing on like things going on in the air. Like I don't know, it's really like a vague term. Like I don't think it has any direct relevance to like an actual key based thing rather than just
Okay,
like a skill like that you
my
learn.
problem my problem is right that nothing like what's I gonna say the key having this because both key based techniques and stuff like your battle sense and mental state, bro, I gotta fucking wake up. both key attacks and like battle sense and mental state, those are both derived from techniques that aren't inherent to one's key. They're not inherent to one's key because they're techniques that, even though like the Destructo Disc uses key, it's not inherent to one's key, because it's not something they're born with. It's something that they learn how to manifest their key, how to control their key into something.
Yeah, but my point is that I'm saying that the battle sense technique that you're talking about doesn't have to be involved with ki at all. Because you
I'm
you
not
can still put the let me learn here. You can still put it in an equation of, oh yeah, they can still learn this thing using ki, but it's still key based because it's like visually like it's like the Tien is like a super powered like laser beam, and it's fucking Krillin's Destructo disc, which they learn through using ki. But we don't know if like the battle sense that you're talking about is learned via using ki. It can be like other things which I mentioned.
that's not relevant because, okay, just because he's made from the cells of the people doesn't mean that it's only like he only gets their key techniques. Getting the person's cells can also leave an imprint of their mental states and battle sense. There's nothing contradicting that idea, right? And that would fit more with the
Mental
structure.
wait, that doesn't even make sense. Wait, what do you mean? Like
Like getting
hold on. How did they even get the DNA of the Z fighters? Because
there's I mean
let's
there's
go
like
down. I understand.
there are these bug robots and they took samples of the Z fighters cells without them noticing.
My bad, say that again.
Cell explains that there are these little like bug fighters couldn't see that took samples of their
Uh-huh.
cells while they weren't noticing.
And you're okay, so that's what happened. So they took the like what time period did this happen in?
It happened during the Saiyan saga. It's like, when like
And
Vegeta came
insane
to
stuff.
Earth.
Okay, so this is mad long ago. Okay, I just wanted to get an understanding. So your point is that, to my knowledge, you're trying to say Cell, the DNA that they got would be comprised of the mental states of the Z fighters at that time.
Yeah, and even like the mental states and hand-to-hand
Okay,
techniques that they
why does DNA relate to mental state? Can you like show some evidence of that?
because what was it?
Like what's the correlation
One sec.
between those two?
So we even see like, regardless of the fact that these techniques are key, the fact that Cell can perform techniques like the Kamehameha and the Destructo Disc, these are techniques that require knowledge and skill to manifest your key in a certain way. So the fact that Cell
Yeah,
still
but that's
learns,
still key based.
yeah, that's key based, but that's like the point is that he's accessed the Z Fighters' knowledge on how to use these techniques, whether or not it is a manifestation of key.
Yeah,
So if
because
he
it's
can
based
do,
on key. But my point is that how do we know he can do the same thing to things that are not based on key if he's created as an essence of key?
wait,
Like,
okay, okay, just because the techniques are key based doesn't take away from the fact that he's still, just by having their cells, understanding the technique behind manipulating his key, right? Just because he has their key doesn't mean that he's automatically going to be able to use their key techniques because you don't
does
know.
manipulating key not
Once,
take key? Like,
yes, it takes key to do everything, by
take
the way, because
key
key
to
is the essence
yeah.
of life. That's not the point. The point is this, just let me say it like this. The point is that if he's able to access the knowledge on how to manipulate ki a certain way, then he is getting the knowledge of the Z fighters, right? Just by virtue of having their cells. So the
Yeah,
explanation.
he's gaining the
Well,
knowledge of the
let me
Z
finish. Let me
fighters
finish.
and how they access their
Let me
key.
finish. Let me finish.
I'm
If
sorry. Go ahead.
it's okay. Because I was trying to get to this a little earlier. Also, I could go to bed. But if he's able to access the knowledge of how to manipulate key techniques, right? And that would be the explanation as to how he's able to access the knowledge to use their mental states and hand-to-hand techniques. And the reason why he would have gained these in addition to their key techniques is because the statement that I sent just generalizes him as getting their techniques rather than specifically saying their key techniques, right? It's going to be less parsimonious
I
to
mean, I
assume
think
that.
I think they can reference techniques and be referring to one thing that can still be
No,
a
they can.
technique. I don't
I
think.
mean, it would be less
And I think
parsimonious to
within,
assume.
I think it's more. I mean, well, not. I don't think it would be more parsimonious in your end or whatever you're trying to say because I use like other extra context, which was the like the way he was created, like how it's just like derived from like just key. And if you acknowledge that there's things and techniques that can be learned outside of like utilizing key to learn it, then that can be exclusive to the techniques that's listed
Wait, but
or exclusive to like what Cell copied from them.
just because Cell was made, um, right, doesn't mean that it's inherently going to be easier or there's going to be like a difference between how he's able to use their key techniques and how he'd be able to use their hand-to-hand and mental state shit.
I'm sorry.
That's why.
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry. I did. I zoned out. Can you repeat that?
Sorry. What's that? Uh, just because he's made from their key doesn't mean there's going to be like an inherent it's going to be inherently easier for him to use their key techniques compared to their hand-to-hand techniques and mental states just because he's got their
But
key.
there's
Or
no. I
just
mean, there's no ever. The point is, there's no evidence that he even has knowledge of the second thing you said in the first place, which is my point. My point is that I don't think you can accurately prove that Cell has this technique to even begin with. I don't think the techniques that you're referencing in the
yeah, but
statement it actually encompasses all techniques.
the point of my
I think it
argument though
encompasses you know in context.
the point of my argument though is that it's just as reasonable with the context we're given, right? On the fact that Cell is even when it comes to the key techniques that he's even able to what's it called? Use the mental like he has a mental knowledge of how to manifest ki in that way in the first place, then there's just as much context behind an explanation for how you would know the key techniques as there's for how you would know the hand to hand shit. And then coupled with the
I
fact
don't.
that
Is there okay? Okay.
yeah, coupled
I go
with the
ahead.
fact one sec, yeah, one sec. Coupled with the fact, right, that the statement generalizes it to just techniques in general without like adding another assumption that they're trying to be specific to key techniques, which they don't specify, right? They don't specify specifically key techniques, then you
I
can't
mean,
really
it's
say
the. I think the statement. I think the statement is just indexed to how he was created, which is the reason why he's able to do the things he can do in reference to him having the abilities of the Z
right,
fighters.
but
And in
that
context of that, is what we already established that he was being created by this DNA of these people.
right,
And I think
but
I don't think when you first off you haven't addressed the fact that you can't like exactly explain a direct correlation between DNA and mental state. So why am I even taking into account that something like a battle sense where you have to like rely on your focused mental state for him even to having to have this same like ability.
I already like, explained, right? He gets their techniques, and not only definitionally, but even what we see, part of him getting those techniques involves getting the mental abilities to use techniques, right? Because like he gets the Kamehameha and he knows how to perform a Kamehameha, so he's getting the mental knowledge to
Oh,
use
okay.
these
So
techniques.
you're saying okay. You're saying you have to have some type of mental level to use these techniques.
Yeah, like otherwise knowledge on how to use these techniques, he'd be incapable of manifesting his ki in a way to even like project it as like a destructo disc or a kamehameha. And these aren't like things that are intrinsic
So
to
you're
one's.
saying there's some type of threshold that is it like so what is it like mental strength? Are you saying like your mental strength has to reach a certain threshold to be able to utilize ki on a certain level?
I'm just saying that to use ki techniques like the kamehameha, it requires knowledge. It requires skill to practice as the technique that you have in your brain. So if Cell is able to access that just by virtue of taking the DNA of a fighter who's learned it, right? Then that means that him taking DNA also proves that he's also taking their knowledge and their ability to practice to like put techniques into battle. because he's able to learn how to do the motion.
Wait, can you show Cell like just doing this without? I'm sorry. Can you show Cell doing this without like Goku being or like any of the Z5? Like he just uses these abilities off rip like as he just was first born.
What do you mean, like him using a technique
Like
without seeing anyone use it?
like like I'm assuming I'm assuming there was no like way like based off what you're saying if your argument were to go through it would be like I don't like he would be able to do these attacks and techniques like outside of like actually seeing them do it.
I mean,
Like
yeah,
he was
he
just
used a
born with
command.
being able to.
For example, he used a command. Goku used one, like when he fought Piccolo in Ginger Town.
Uh, can you show that? I mean, I don't really know.
Yeah, I'll show you the scene of him using the command, man.
Wait,
Sure.
bro, use a different example that's not within the tournament, bro.
Wait, what?
You can't use that example. Use a different one, bro.
Why can't I use that?
It breaks tournament
I mean,
rules, bro. Like,
he's trying to
No,
relate like he's
wait,
trying to say I'm assuming he's trying to say like the DNA like goes with
yeah,
the
like the whole
memories.
point is whether or not like he can use the abilities distinct from like copying your
No,
DNA.
he can.
no
Yeah,
trouble.
he can use it because he's trying to
I just, yeah, I'm
he's
just
trying to say that you have to have like a certain level of like mental to
got
or
trouble.
like you have to know the technique.
Yeah, I'm trying to say that Cell like learns to take when he copies one's DNA, he's also getting their mental knowledge and the techniques and like skill and mental faculties that that opponent has. And I'm evidencing this by saying that even to use the key techniques, right? There you need like mental memories of like how to actually practice that technique.
Oh, fine,
Cell
fine.
is able to use yeah.
Wait, so you're
Yeah, bro,
saying
use it.
this DNA? Are you saying this DNA included memories too? It wasn't just DNA. That's new.
No, like the DNA, like getting one's DNA put into Cell also gives them, I mean, also gives him knowledge on how to use their techniques. So it's like it's a
Oh, I
knowledge
mean,
thing.
well, actually, I honestly don't even. Okay, so the DNA, it's giving techniques and the knowledge of the key techniques.
Well, the knowledge
Is
of the
basically what you're
techniques in
saying.
general, but yes, also about the Kamehameha, but he also learns he has a knowledge associated with how to use a Kamehameha, just like how Goku could.
I mean, isn't he like an android? Don't you think like
He is an, and yeah, he is
it
an
did
android.
like don't you think his memories could have been like you know they could have seen Goku or like implemented a memory of him using the Kamehameha?
Wait, do you guys want to go conclusions or like?
Oh, one sec. Um,
Alright.
they he got it like the statement itself is just saying that because he's gotten the cells, that's what granted him the ability to use these techniques, right? So it's also granting him, like to grant him the ability to use this technique, it's also granting him the knowledge of how to perform it. So it's just by virtue of getting his cells, right? Again, like to tie this back to what I'm saying earlier, if him getting the cells grants
Wait,
him
actually,
knowledge.
no, wait, wait, hold up. That's fine. I actually don't mind if it grants knowledge of key techniques.
Yeah, my point is, okay, if cells DNA grants him knowledge, right, and mental
Or key
faculties
techniques.
to do certain things, right, then what was I gonna say? There's not like context leading towards him only being able to gain key techniques from the Z fighters, and thus the statement that only says that he gets techniques in general rather than being specifically to key techniques, we'd been adding an
Well,
assumption
okay.
saying that
I would
it's only.
we already talked about that, but I guess I would say like um key techniques kind of being an essence of like your life. Like for example, like there's like some innate techniques to people like they have like their own type of techniques corresponding to their character and their key. And I don't think it's far fetched to say like, yeah, these things can still be based off of like just key. Like if knowledge and like essence and innate like techniques come from key and like stem from like the essence of your character or whatever, I don't think it's far fetched to say like, yeah, like with actually having like these abilities and like the power based off of key, it would be stuff that can still be key based techniques and not anything external to it.
But wait, That would only really make sense if these techniques are something that was like innate to their ki, to innate to their like them literally being alive, right? But they're not. They
Well,
are.
it doesn't have to be innate to them being alive, just like a personal relation to them.
Like, what do you mean? Like, for example, the Kamehameha. Are you trying to say that it makes sense for the DNA to give them the Kamehameha because Kamehameha is a technique that's personal to Goku?
Yeah, that's yes, 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 yes.
Um, being like personal would make it easier to acquire through having one's ki.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
What about the technique being personal to Goku would make it easier to acquire through getting his ki, getting his cells,
What do
whatever.
you mean by make it easier?
Like you're trying to say that compared to like the mental faculties in battle sense, right? A ki technique like the Kamehameha would make
Mhm.
more sense. I mean, it would make more sense to gain through the DNA harvesting because it's personal to him.
I'm just saying that's a way to explain why he has knowledge of it. I'm just saying that can be another way to explain why he would know how to do it because it's like essential to him rather than just saying he like got his memories when I don't think there's like any scan to prove that.
What do you mean?
Like
What do
of
you
course
mean?
if like he just comes out of nowhere using the technique, doesn't see Goku do it. I think the most reasonable assumption or reasonable conclusion to get from that is that okay, like these technique or these DNA and cells and thing that you were used to compose them included the included the knowledge of how to utilize these key base attacks. And
Okay,
I think
but what's the differentiator between getting the knowledge? Like, what's the differentiator between key techniques and battle sense and mental shit, so that one is easier to explain when it comes to harvesting it from DNA? Because if both,
okay.
because if you get wait, one second, let me finish because I just need to get the argument a bit
Uh-huh.
more clear. If both, if you get it, if he is getting like mental shit right, and both techniques require mental shit, then why would we exclude the other, like the hand to hand and mental state,
Well,
from the key tech?
I think one of the techniques is like a utilization of like actual spiritual energy, and the other one is like just another form of like mental like will or like mental focus, which I think everybody can do, but Goku being Goku, he can do it to a higher level external to Ki.
About a cutout. Could you say that one more time? I'm sorry.
Oh, shit, what did I just say? Super fucking tired. Oh yeah, what did I say? Fuck. Wait, what was the first? What did you say to in the first place that I responded to? Just re-jog my memory real quick.
Because I'm saying if Cell is getting the
Oh,
mental
that you
part,
asking for the differentiator. My bad, my bad. Okay, I remember. Yeah, I was saying the differentiator is something like a key based techniques. Um, I think you have to utilize like actual like spiritual energy and like supernatural forces versus like this battle sense that you're talking about, which seems to be more of like a mental willpower, not exactly mental willpower, but like a mental focus. Like, and obviously Goku can do it at the level he can, because Goku's just more like technically skilled than like regular people outside of like he. Like, you know, he's a martial artist, he can understand things and he's super fast and strong. But I don't think it has to do like I don't think he couldn't have learned it had he not had Ki. I think this is something that he could have still learned without Ki.
okay, but just because, so basically, key techniques utilizing key to function make them easier to. But that wouldn't really. I don't really understand there because both key techniques and like mental state, like key techniques go in tandem with a certain mental state in the first place. You need knowledge to practice them because you need to actually know the form and how to use them, right? So it's like, even though key manipulation and projection in itself is also something that goes along with key techniques, if you still have that mental state involved, right, then the fact that Cell can get that means that mental state shit does meet the requirement of what DNA harvests, because regardless, separate of like the key projection part of something like the Kamehameha, he's also getting the knowledge part that's independent of Goku's usage of that key, right? Goku still has the knowledge of how to use a Kamehameha even before he actually shoots one out. So if Cell already gets the knowledge of how to use a Kamehameha, then the box checks out that the DNA harvesting will get knowledge even independent from the Kamehameha usage itself, because Cell obviously knows how to do one before he does one. So there's no like differentiator toward the knowledge of how to use a key technique than what's it called? A mental state or like some other battle sense shit, because both involve mental processes. Just because one leads toward using key in the end, it doesn't really matter, because key, like using key isn't really actualized until you actually actualize the technique itself. Before you actually use the key itself to do the technique, that knowledge is just knowledge. Same as knowledge is to have a certain like mental state or clear mind. The knowledge to use a Kamehameha is just in your brain.
Sorry, can you repeat those last two sentences? I heard everything else before that. Kind of cut out.
Yeah, sorry. Um, just like how the knowledge to keep a certain battle sense or mental state is there, right? Um, the knowledge of how to use a Kamehameha is also in your brain in the same sense before you even actualize it by actually using a Kamehameha. So there's no differentiator towards the knowledge of both of these techniques, just because one if eventually turns into ki, right? I mean,
Well,
it
okay.
eventually actualizes into using a ki blast.
All right. Well, I think I already responded to most of that, so I don't have to respond to everything. But for the differentiator for this one, I think there is a huge differentiation, because I definitely don't think you need to take as much mental focus as it does to try to predict one's attacks exclusive to key, because you acknowledge that this isn't really based on key. I think that takes a lot more mental fortitude than utilizing energy via like maybe like using a little bit of like your mental power, but most of it is like manipulation of ki, which is I don't think uh mostly mental energy in the first place. So I think those are the differentiators. I mean, we could move on.
You're saying that it takes less mental energy than like the mental state shit?
I think well I'm saying I think a kami the ka- the Kamehameha takes less of mental energy than it does when you're doing something like the other technique that you named for
Yeah,
Goku.
yeah.
then
Um,
then I think it takes I don't even know if it takes any mental energy at all in the first place. I actually just think it's just a utilization of ki. I think you're just utilizing ki. I don't. But would you want to move on?
Wait, let me just respond to that. Obviously, right, you
Okay.
still need to understand like how to use the technique before you do it. But even
I
ignoring
already
that,
responded to that.
one sec, because no, that's a respond to you just saying that you making the claim that like there's no energy involved. Obviously, to do basically anything, you would need mental energy to spend to actually think on how to do it. But like that's not even the brunt of it. It's also the fact that like sure, even if it takes more mental energy to keep like the mental state that I'm talking about than to use a Kamehameha, why is that a relevant factor in separating what Cell can and can't get, right? If you can't prove that this factor would make or break a technique from being inherited by Cell's things, I mean Cell's like DNA harvesting, right? That makes them up. If you can't prove that it would actually like make or break that, then again, like my interpretation of him absorbing the mental states and shit would just be I mean, more parsimonious, because I'm not like making an assumption onto what I'm saying. Like, your assumption isn't really backed by anything. It just assumes that because one technique takes more mental processing than another, that it's going to not be included,
Yeah.
which isn't like based on
Do you
really anything.
think do you think you have to have the same mental state to use a Kamehameha? Like, do you think like, for example, like somebody like Roshi's mental state is as strong and is the same as Goku's, even though they're both able to use Kamehamehas? Like obviously, like to some extent, like one technique is better than the other, and one is probably using more,
One is
or they
using
just have different mental states in general. They're different people. Like
to use the technique. All I'm really just saying is that we're Like they could to use a Kamehameha
Well, okay, well,
require.
you don't think Cell is organized to have at least a level of mental processing?
Well, yeah, I think he does
Like he's
have
at
that,
least
but
smart, but I don't. I think
I
he's
think that the
smart on his
proper.
own with techniques
Well, he is right.
of.
I'm saying that the ability to process the knowledge, I mean, the ability to like understand the knowledge of how to use a Kamehameha is because he has Goku cells. Otherwise, he wouldn't know how to use a Kamehameha.
Okay, so you're saying the Goku cells is why he has knowledge of the Kamehameha, and
Yeah, like in
I'm
addition to
already
being able.
saying. I mean, I kind of already like. I think I'm not even disagreeing with that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying like. Well, my argument is that I think that Cell, rather than like copying the memory and how to do it, he knows how to do it because he's at least at a level where he can. Because if it's not established that you have to have a Goku is the only mental state that can do a Kamehameha, it's possible that Cell could not have copied the mental state of Goku and is still able to use the Kamehameha because he has like the same key like essence in some sense, at least partially, like has a similar essence of key, so he's able to utilize it easier, and which is why
I
the
mean,
reason he's able to do it rather than like him
um,
actually having memories of him.
I'll be honest. Like, I still explain how like you would still need knowledge and how to actually perform something because it's not like techniques aren't actually intrinsic. But like, I'll just we can like conclude on that because I feel like we might be like, kind of repeating ourselves. Because I have another piece of evidence for the fact that he gets because there's actually a direct statement that proves what I'm trying to say. So, Trouble, are you there?
Um, if you look at that right statement that proves what you were saying, I'll prefer you just send that before
Yeah, that's
concluding.
okay. So look in DMs real quick. Could you just send the
Yeah, I got you, bro.
okay, so Cell is saying here that Frieza's cells are telling him that Gohan was gonna come up to him and try to knock him down. So Frieza's cells are inherently giving him a battle sense as to how the fight is gonna play out. So it's not just like how to use like a death beam or the other shit that Frieza can use with Ki.
So this is
Like
not
he's also
something that's like passive or anything, right? Like these are like active these are things that are actively happening. Like the cells would have to reach out and say do this
what what do you mean like reach out?
because he's not it doesn't he says the Frieza cells tells me, so he's getting this from like. Well, he says
They,
Frieza cells are telling me this is not something that's like passive or nothing, right?
mm, there's never any indication that's not passive. He's
Oh,
just
but
saying that to the cells are giving him the ability to tell what's gonna happen. Um, it's not implied to be. Like, I don't really know where you're getting at. Like it's something that's
is it
intrinsic.
meant to be like? And is there more context? Is I'm confused.
What do you mean, like context, like into how it works?
The Frieza cells tells him that somebody's gonna plan to do something, which is like, is that precog? Like, what is this? Like, what is that based off
It's
of? Like, what is he using to
it's
do this?
based it's based on
Or
what's
what
it
is
called?
Frieza cells using to do this?
Oh, the
Is
Frieza
it like some type of like bloodlust sensory or whatever?
Frieza cells are just giving him what's to say. I guess it'd be like a sense of how someone's gonna fight. Like it's not directly stated how exactly it works, but Frieza cells are giving him like the mental faculty to understand, like whatever the direct cause is. Frieza cells are still giving him the mental faculty to process like a scenario that he thinks is gonna happen. My point is that if it's the case that cells, like him getting Frieza cells, are giving him the ability to like gain certain mental faculties independent of like anything even related to like using a key blast or a key technique, then there's no reason to
Who
believe
is he?
that
Who is he referring to in this statement?
uh he was fighting Gohan at the time. Fighting Frieza cells are allowing him to help
How do I know
understand.
this is not like referencing to something like instant transmission?
What do you mean?
Like, how do I know that this is not like he's sensing this based off of something key dependent?
Dependent.
Like, uh, if he knows that, or if he predicts somebody's about to attack him, can't that just be in the confines of key, like an instant transmission? Like all it says, it just seems up here. It just says Frieza cells tells me that you're planning to come up here and at the last second knock me down.
Are you trying to say that
That doesn't even seem like a super like intricate like explanation of what somebody's gonna do. It's just saying, yeah, like the nigga who's flying in the air, you're just gonna jump up there and knock them down. That's not. I don't think that's really like.
That doesn't, because yeah, this specific ability to use the cells might not be like super useful in a fight, but it's more so to prove the fact that he's still harvesting the mental faculties and whatever benefits that they give him, independent of like mental faculties that help him use a key technique. So just saying that even like normal stuff to use in battle, normal like intrinsic thoughts and mental processing to use in battle, he's still getting that from their cells rather than like specifically the mental knowledge of
My question is how do you know it's not based off of like key sensory?
What do you mean based on key sensory?
Like, how do you know that Frieza cells aren't telling him this based off of his sensory of key?
Because Frieza doesn't have the ability to sense ki. So the fact that Cell would be getting like I'm assuming you're trying to say, oh, Frieza cells might be like giving him the ability to sense the ki of others, like through his mind and shit. But that wouldn't make sense because Frieza doesn't have the ability to sense ki, and even if he did, everyone else like Goku and shit do. So it wouldn't be something intrinsic to Frieza that allows him to sense ki, because Frieza, even if we assume that he could sense ki, which he can't, isn't the only one. Everyone else he has in his body can do that too, like Piccolo and shit.
Is it actually true that Frieza could not sense ki? I
Yeah,
just looked it up.
Goku comments on it. Might have learned. Like some people think he learned, but like during the Namek saga,
I
he
mean,
kind of.
I looked it up on Google. It says he didn't before he had his golden form. I'm not gonna argue super skeptic on it. Like it's cool, but regardless of that fact, I'll just say that I think that these things has to like happen. I think his like cells are actually talking to him rather than like it'd be like a byproduct of his own mind, because he says verbatim like the cells are telling him to do something. So is there any instance within the fight that the Goku cells tell him to do whatever technique that you're talking about that he's going to use in the
Wait,
fight?
wait, so your interpretation cells are literally communicating with them? Like
That's
what
what it
man?
says.
Okay, wait. They can be communicating with him, and it can still fall under the standard way that your cells communicate with you. Because even our bodies rely on our cells to communicate to our body how to move around and shit. All actions that you do are cells, your brain cells
Wait, my
talking to
bad.
the
Wait,
cell.
give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second.
Sorry.
My bad. What you were saying?
I'm saying that, I mean, cells communicate even like when it comes to like us, right? So our brain cells communicating to the rest of the cells within our limbs and shit and our body, even our organs for to tell our organs how to function, to tell our limbs how to move. Like when we think about when you think to move an arm, right? To raise your arm up, those are your brain cells communicating. So given that's like the standard way that cells work, it'd be more likely that this is probably how Cell is referring to his cells communicating through the same way that
Well, I don't think.
everyone's.
Well, I don't. Okay, I don't think it's. Well, my argument against it, I don't think you can prove that they're like talking about brain cells, because in the first thing that we went over, you said he copied DNA, which is fine because obviously I think, well, Cell has his own like way of thinking. I don't think he thinks like he taps in like to the actual personalities and thinks like the other Z fighters. I think he can just like have it like utilize their techniques and has access to their like key potential and key techniques. But I I think my interpretation of this is that like he has like the DNA is like they're in it like personalities are like actually telling him to do this because I don't know, that just seems like what is being said verbatim. And I don't think it makes sense within like your argument.
Wait, even like all of this still ties back to the fact that all of like absorbing one's personality, right? And even stuff like intuition, that's all rooted back in the brain. Plus, like I don't really understand
Wait, what did you
um
say? Can you repeat that?
every like mental thing that even you refer to, like personality and whatnot, it's still rooted up in the brain, right? So it's like if cells are telling him to
But that was
do
my
this,
point. I don't nah, my point was I don't think he has those personalities.
maybe I misheard you. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, my point was that I don't think he has these things, so it wouldn't make sense for it to operate like this rather than just operating like he's like these like the DNA or the like if you agree it's an essence of key, then these DNA and their essences of like these the Z fighters are like talking them in whatever ways or I'm assuming Frieza also was copied from him, which I didn't know that. I didn't know that he also had Frieza cells either, but I guess you can throw Frieza in there and the rest of them in the same sense.
Okay,
So
wait.
I don't.
It's alright. Wait, the whole like how exactly communicating with him is irrelevant, right? Because the fact that his cells are going to be able to communicate with him to give him like mental processing, right, in the first place, right, to allow him to mentally process a way of like evading an attack, right, based on what one character can do, in this case Frieza, right? And if he can do that, then there's nothing contextually that bars him from being able to get Goku's mental state through Goku's cells within him, telling him how to like act with the battle sense of Goku, which would be supported
But
by
I
the state.
don't. Is it in character that uh he uses like the battle sense of Goku and like you can see visually that Goku is like or Cell points out that Goku cells are telling him to react in this said way. Is that in character?
Um, well, if Cell doesn't, it's never explicitly like stated or implied if Goku's battle sense is being used by Cell. It doesn't. Okay, first off, right? If he wasn't, I mean, it would be most logically likely for him to tap into that for the sake of winning a fight, unless someone like Vegeta had even better battle sense, right? That was even better than what Goku could provide. And even though like Cell doesn't imply or state it outright, that he's using Goku cells for battle sense, the statement would just prove that he can. That I sent. So
Well,
like it doesn't need to be
it's fine.
like there doesn't need to one sec. There
Well,
doesn't is it like because this
okay.
all ties back to the fact that it's less assumptuous to say that he does have all this shit, right? There doesn't need to be a likelihood increaser given within the actual anime, if there's no actual contradiction to it.
Well, my point isn't disagreeing that he has this thing, or my point is disagreeing that he's actually going to utilize this in the fight if we don't actually see it happen. And it seems like it's not anything like really passive. It's like the Frieza cell. Well, according to my argument, if I were to get it through, the Frieza cells would come in at a time where they think convenient to uh say this thing to Cell.
Okay, so the fact is, like as I said, right, it would be logical for Cell to use this unless someone else, like Vegeta or Piccolo cells, could give him an even better battle sense, which would only bolster my argument and my win con for Cell even more, right? And then as to the second thing he said, like they come when
I mean, the
he's
point is, I don't know if he is going to
I'm
use
not,
it in character.
I'm not done. One sec. I was saying like because I don't want to misremember shit because I'm late. It's late as fuck. But yeah, they can come when the cells can tell like the best way. Like let's say someone's going to attack and then Frieza cell know best how to defend it. That's fine, right? If Goku cells are the best to evade attacks, right? Then they're just gonna come when your character Garou is going to attack Cell and Goku's
But does
cells are.
this happen? Does this happen in the series? Because if to my knowledge, Cell is a very cocky character. He could possibly be blocking out these like communications or whatever at any given time to be like, yeah, I don't really need this. Like that's also a part of his character. He's known to be very cocky, which is probably why we haven't actually seen him
Wait, but
utilize it to his full extent.
in character, what we're suggesting is that he has used this, which is why the scan I just sent is literally him acknowledging
Well, okay,
what
one is
Alpha is.
I
One second,
okay, go ahead.
let me finish. Let me finish.
My bad. Go ahead, go ahead.
The scan itself is acknowledging something he's doing based on Frieza's cells telling him to, right? So if we have an actual like consistency for him doing this based on cells, right? We have no reason to assume, we have less reason to assume that he would be blocking out like Goku's cells and shit for whatever reason. If it's not in
I
character
mean,
for
that
him to.
doesn't really respond to the point of me saying Cell is in character, overconfident, and cocky. And the other point that I'm gonna address is, uh, what was the first thing you said about the Frieza cells again? Like, what did you said something
Uh,
like
just that he listened to them? Like, I don't know what you mean.
I kind of just repeat the first part of your argument. I'm extremely
I
tired.
was just
I'm trying to
saying,
remember
I
what you
was
said.
I was just saying how I was just saying how Cell listened to Frieza's cells, right? So it's like it's in character for him to do this if he actually listened to Frieza's cells.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
It's like cockiness and shit.
So,
Regardless of that.
okay, so what's to say that Goku would actually, like, what's to say Goku cells would actually want to comply in reaching out to him? Actually, you know what? I won't even have to say that. I'll just say that you're trying to use it in the same instance because I remember you said what you said before. You're trying to relate the Frieza instance, saying he would be able to do this thing. And I already said before, would he copy or would he the information he gets from Frieza isn't like really extraordinary to the extent that you were saying Goku's precog was. It was more of the guy's flying up in the air and he's sensing that the person is going to come up and attack him, which is like kind of vague because like obviously if there's a threat in the air, you would try to go up in the air and knock them down. I don't really think that's like as intricate as like an actual like in-depth explained martial art that somebody can do. Um, and also like to extrapolate on the other point, which is the like him complying. If it's on screen that we say like, and obviously according if I went argument earlier, if on screen we see Frieza cells like actually um interfering and saying, yeah, you should do this thing. And you said, oh yeah, these other people have like DNA and they like it would be stronger, but they haven't used it. I think my argument would be that, obviously Frieza being the villain in the series, you probably would want to help. So it would make sense for him to like actually comply versus the others where they have stronger techniques and stuff like that, which is the reason why he probably couldn't access like or have the exact like mental fortitude that you were talking about. And like they
Okay.
wouldn't I don't think they would really be able to interfere
Okay, first
or
off,
they would want to.
the whole like man, it's late as fuck. Okay, so first off, the whole late thing you're saying is that because what he gets from Frieza isn't complex, you don't think he could get like complex shit from Goku. Well,
I just
the
yeah.
like one sec, like the reason why what he gets from Frieza could be relatively simple is just because what this thing is just because Frieza just simply wouldn't be as adept of a fighter mentally rather than physically than Goku, right? Which is fine. You can get more simpler shit from Frieza rather than what he gets from Goku simply by virtue of Frieza being a worse fighter. This doesn't imply that what he gets from Goku wouldn't be all of what he gets from Goku, right? The problem is that that's just gonna be how you say like to assume that he's not getting all of what Goku can do, even when it's stated that he gets what Goku can do, would just be less assumptuous. And at the same time, the whole like other argument you say is because of more assumptuous, my bad. And the second argument you give about like Frieza being evil, so like Frieza's cells are able to like cell shit that Goku cells wouldn't. All this assumes that cells act on their own, they have like a will of their own, which is completely
Yeah.
unsupported and it would be unlikely not to mention by the fact that Goku cells still give Cell the ability to use Kamehameha and shit. If Goku cells, which again, like
Mm,
even key techniques are attributed to the cells, right? He only uses that shit because of cells. So if Goku cells were blocking what they would give Cell because they're not like evil and shit, then he wouldn't be able to use a Kamehameha and shit. The same thing with like the
well,
other
okay, I think those are very okay. I'm just say this and we conclude and go or yeah conclude. I think what you said is very different from what I'm actually trying to say. My point in saying the whole like uh individual cell shit is that yeah, if it's based or actually, you know what? We already moved past it. I don't have to re-clarify, but I think the main point is that uh if I won the point about how the like key is described to be like an essence of life and there's things that are intrinsic or like personally related to certain characters, I think that it would make sense for this to work. So that's under the assumption that I won that. And for the second part, about the not compliant or the comparison between him able to use techniques. I think something is like an ongoing command, like an active command, because this is not just something that's always going on. It's a moment in time where he deliberately says, Frieza cells tell me that you're planning to come up to me. So it's a moment in time where Frieza just says this. It's not like he was always thinking it. So the Frieza cells tell him that. I think that's extremely different from being able to like utilize energy to use a Kamehameha. One is like a command or like a information. The other one is like utilization of your own like spiritual energy.
Okay, well, I mean, either way, of like spiritual energy to use a technique is does require the mental processing and mental knowledge, right? So for him to tap into that whenever he ends up using a technique like the Kamehameha or the Destructive Disc or Tien's shit too, whenever he taps into that, he is inherently calling upon the cells to do that because it's even stated that the cells themselves are what's giving him that. So in addition to giving him the ability to use the key, right, he's also getting the knowledge on how to use the key to make that technique, right? As I said earlier, it's not just one part, right? It's not like just this kind of like intuitive thing because key itself, key techniques, even the Z fighters use them, it's not intuitive that they just do it out of nowhere. They learned it over time. So Cell again is
That
just a little
doesn't that
kid.
doesn't that doesn't mean it can't still be personal and like connected to them, at least from like a narrative, like series perspective.
Well, no, because if it was personal or connected to them, it's not something that they would learn
I'm sorry.
because
You said
it's something
what?
that's if it's something that's
It's not
personal
something I
to
do.
them,
What do you
it's
mean?
not. If it's something that's personal to them, it'd be something intrinsic with their key, meaning it's something intrinsic to them just being alive, right? But it's not because it's something that they learn over the course of the story.
I mean, doesn't okay. I would assume the state of your key energy changes as you like learn and utilize your key, like at least learning from a sense of like training key and like mastering key, utilizing, manipulating key. And if
That's-
at a point in time, wait, let me finish. And if at a point in time, whatever you were talking about earlier, where they copied or where the bugs went to go get the DNA from these people, I don't think it's like. I think it's fine to just say at a time they had the DNA where Goku had already made himself or like connected with the Kamehameha in the first place to where the point where he can like it's not a problem if he can use it.
This all assumes that what's this called? This all assumes that key
Yeah.
itself changes, or key itself is going to change in its nature when you learn the technique, right? Which is just never stated or implied.
Uh,
Like it's not implied that like when Goku learned the Kamehameha for the first time, that like his key nature itself changed, so that like the Kamehameha technique itself got imprinted onto his own blood. And in fact, a good evidence of that will also probably just be the fact that his kids don't even know off the bat. Goten, despite having Goku's ki by virtue of being his son, having his DNA, having his cells, he doesn't know how to do the Kamehameha properly. He does like a
I
shitty
don't think
form.
they don't have the exact same DNA.
But you do. You have 50% DNA from your both parents. Like I have 50% DNA from my dad, for example, right? Because I have again like I'm a son.
But it's not all. So that's the point.
But Cell also doesn't only have purely Goku's DNA. He's literally made from the DNA of like a million people.
So he
They
doesn't
cannot.
have all of Goku's DNA. He doesn't have all of Goku's DNA.
He doesn't. Goku's
So what
DNA
was the point? Yeah, so how would okay, if that's the case, how do we know that even in the first place, Cell even has the amount of DNA of Goku's to know how to do this and like do this technique? How do we know that the DNA that Dr. Gero or whoever the fuck it was, that how do we know that the DNA of Goku and the Z fighters from whoever took it, Dr. Gero, whoever his name is, how do we know that that encompasses the battle sense that you're equating this and comparing
It's
this to in the
never
first place?
is never implied, but it's never implied or stated that the amount of DNA you take from someone is going to correspond to how much of their mental state or techniques or anything of those sort that you get. In fact, not only with this statement, you'd be adding more assumptions to the statement, but it'd also just be less logically likely for Dr. Giro to not make Cell composed more of one's DNA if apparently the more DNA you took from someone, the more techniques of them you got. That's just an assumption in your end. There's nothing supporting that in the series that the more DNA of someone you
How do we
have,
know a
the
little bit of how do we know a little bit of DNA means you can use everything? Like what is DNA in the verse encompass? Because I think if he like I don't think having a little, because you even just yourself admitted Goten has 50% of Goku's DNA and there's techniques and things he can't utilize by what you literally just said. So if that's the case, it can fit in this example as well. Cell probably has like a portion or a fraction of Goku's DNA. So it can be the case that there are things that he
but
can do that Goku.
the difference is that my point with oh my gosh, my point with Goten was to say that these techniques aren't something that's intrinsic to just their key itself or just having their DNA. The reason why Cell's having the DNA is allowing him to use this shit is because of Dr. Giro's programming. Because we see examples like with your kids where just having DNA of a parent doesn't allow you to do this shit. So clearly, Cell getting the DNA from the fighters, which allows him to do stuff like the Kamehameha properly, is its own separate process, which would likely just be, Dr. Giro's programming that allows him to do this. So you can't really use Goten as an example of why we should believe that the amount of DNA you take from someone depends on how much of their shit you can use. And as I said, I'll just fall back to the statement, right? Which even if you think the statement that I sent earlier was only key based shit, right?
If it's the you don't have to reference it. If it's the freezer shit, don't reference it again. All right, we already
No, it's
heard
not the
it.
freezer, it's not the freezer shit. It's not the freezer shit. I'm saying
Okay.
the first statement I sent. Even if you think that's only about key stuff, right? Which we talked about that earlier, so I'm not gonna go down that route again. But even if you think that, the thing is that it would still obviously mean that he gets all their key shit unless you want to make even more assumptions, which would be less personal understanding. So if they even have just all their key techniques, right, then it would make the idea
What
that he can only use part of their key techniques due to only having part of their DNA less likely, which just makes the overall idea that he can't use as much of their shit because he doesn't have as much of their DNA less likely.
where does it say you can use all of their techniques?
It doesn't say that verbatim, but again, like it's the more
That's
I
not
mean,
proven.
it doesn't need
I'm
to. It
not
doesn't
gonna
need
let
to.
that go through.
It doesn't need
Yeah,
to
it does.
because 1 second. Let me explain, please. I was saying that for you to say that there can be restrictions onto the amount of techniques would be more assumptions on your end to this statement. It's less
How is that an
parsimonious
assumption?
because it derails from just being able to use the techniques in general. Then you're making an added assumption to say,
Where does
okay,
it
it's
say
just
he's able to use the techniques? And it doesn't say he's able to use the techniques in general. They actually
oh
even index to say he's capable of using special techniques. They don't even say techniques. Actually, yeah, it says he is capable of using the special techniques of their original owners. You know what special means, right?
um, special. Well, special doesn't
Yeah.
isn't exactly given. It's not exactly given a definition within the statement itself. I just believe it to be what's it called?
Well,
I
when you
just
say
believe.
special techniques, you're including all techniques considered special and not the ones that are
Yeah,
not considered special.
I
So
think
there is a
special
set of
techniques.
things that you
One
would
second,
not
one
be
second.
considering when doing
I
this.
just think special techniques are techniques that are unique to them, right? The Kikoho for
Uh,
Tien. and the Destructo Disc for Krillin because these are techniques that are unique to them. I don't think it means, and there's definitely no likelihood
But it
that.
doesn't. But it
Wait one
doesn't
sec.
say
Let me finish.
techniques.
Let me finish. Let me finish, please. There's no likelihood
I ain't gonna lie, I
that.
don't even want this no more, bro.
One sec. One sec. There's no likelihood that special is referring to a specific subset of techniques of a fighter, right? I just think it's referring to the fact
I
that
think
the technique.
okay. We can move on after this. I think the special is in reference to the key base. We already talked about it. Uh, is that all? You just think he would precog all my character's attacks?
Pretty much, yeah. And you're just over like slowly.
And what can yeah? I'm not gonna argue on it, but what was the explanation of the Kid Goku shit? Cause I kind of like just I didn't really
It was just the fact
really
that
go over it.
Kid Goku was fighting a doll that had the same physicals as him, but just like the better mental state, which allowed Goku to like Goku literally couldn't like land a single hit on the doll and he was about to die. But then Goku learns at the end of the fight how to tap into his own like heightened mental state, which allowed him to outskill the doll, which earlier had obviously the skill that like Goku couldn't land a hit. So like Goku just bypassed a level of skill that was earlier basically like low diffing him, no diffing him, despite him having the same physicals. And Cell would have that by
How do you
using
know that this is not a stat increase?
How do I know this is not a stat increase? What do you mean?
Yeah, you don't think like characters like can have like stat increases during fights? Like if a character gets his ass beat over and over again, he goes into focus mode and he can just win. Like you don't think that can be product of a stat increase?
Wait, you think that Goku focusing of a stat increase?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
You think Goku focusing is giving him a stat increase?
Uh,
Gosh.
maybe it can. Yeah, I
Like, I
think.
mean, not only is that like again just an assumption you're in, but it's not even so.
Is it really just focus? Like what is he doing? Like
Basically, Mr. Like you know how like Mr. You even said it yourself earlier, like how Mr. Popo's whole thing is about teaching Goku how to like sense shit and have a better understanding of like the fighter around him and like how to fight, so that he could have like precog and be able to like tell what people are doing without even using his eyes and shit. The whole narrative behind the fight was getting Goku's mental state better attributed for fighting rather than his physical power, which is why the doll itself is stated to have the same physicals as him. It just doesn't like think. It doesn't have as many
oh,
cluttered thoughts as.
okay, okay. You know, no, that's my bad. That's fine. Okay, so you just think Goku just got an increase in skill.
Yeah,
Okay, so there's no extrapolation as to how he was doing. It's just an increase in skill. It's not directly indexed
yeah.
to
It's just
precog
it's
or
just
anything. He's just getting more skilled.
cleared his mind so he could like fight better.
Okay, so it's not indexed to precog.
Um, it's not precog. In the
Oh my
sense of
fuck!
like
There's no way we've been arguing over this for an hour when we could have just said this.
it's not like okay because it depends
That's fine. We
exactly
can
how
move
you.
on. We can move on. We can move on. We can move on. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool.
It's just in
That's
general
cool.
like skill that applies to him being able to like dodge everything. It's kind of like precog in the sense that like he's getting an earlier sense of what someone is doing through
I
like
mean, I don't
sensing.
not that's fine. If it isn't anything that gives you an combative advantage, such as like knowing where the attack is gonna be before you do it
No,
exactly, then I don't care.
it does give him a combative
No,
advantage.
I didn't no, I didn't no, you didn't listen. I didn't say it didn't give him a combative advantage. I said if it's not in reference to a combative advantage that involves something like precog, which is being able to predict and pinpoint what your opponent is gonna do before he does it. If that's the case, that's fine. He can just have his skill increase. I don't even think he's as skilled as Garou in the first place, because I think Garou can just redeflect everything that's thrown at him. I think he also has like an extra like sensory knowledge of energy, and anything he gets hit by, like Garou just be able to copy.
And again, okay, two things, right? First off, regardless of how the skill is achieved, if Goku's skill
I don't know why
allowed
this
him to
takes so
outskill
fucking long.
someone, if Goku's skill allowed him to outskill someone who earlier was just weaving and unable to like be a single lit, I mean, the doll was unable to be hit, right? And Goku managed to outskill that. Then Goku scales above a level of skill that just allows you to be completely unattackable by someone of the same physicals as you. And that's what you said after that, right, with Garou. So the problem with Garou being able to, first off, send scans of Garou being able to redeflect and copy everything, and second off, I just think the problem
Sure.
is that no matter like his redeflection wouldn't matter if he can't properly interact with the attacks because he's just not fast enough because the skill is allowing Goku to
And
move
also,
away.
I'm sorry. It also seems like, I get your point, but it also seems like he has to be like a sense of like conviction to want to be able to like do this to focus. I don't think Garou would even let him fucking focus mid fight. If he's not already at this level, Garou's just gonna beat the shit out of him. I don't
Right,
even know if this.
if Goku is able to focus against someone of the same physicals as him, right? And obviously this is equal stats, then there's no argument for Garou being able to be being
Is he
like
is
quick
he
enough.
focusing while dodging, or does he like where does he? Is there a time of him
He literally,
focusing?
he literally focuses as, if you look at the end of the fight, he focuses as the guy of equal speed is coming after him.
I don't even think you can really say these guys. I don't think there's no way for you to certainly prove they're equal. Any type of
It's
statistical advantage can give him room to
it's
focus.
in the clip I sent stated by the black guy that they have equally matched power and speed. Like if you're gonna be contending that, why don't you just contend it earlier, bro? I want to go to bed.
What'd you say?
Like if you really had a problem with them being equal power and speed, which again it's in the video, but why don't you just mention that earlier? Now we're bringing up all this other shit, bro. I just want to go to bed.
I mean, babe, bro, nobody's forcing you to be in here.
Damn, bro. Like should like
End of
if
the
you really
day.
had a problem, you should have just said it earlier. Like going back on this.
I mean, we were talking about something else. Obviously, it's just how debates go. Not everything gets addressed first. Like I said, if you want to go to bed, you can go to bed. But if not, I'm gonna address what you laid out to me as an argument, and then we can move on. Okay. Um. Yeah. I mean, I'll just say one last thing. We can move on from this point.
Wait, what do you want to say?
I don't think the level of I don't think the level of skill that he got can be quantitatively compared to Garou's level of skill in the first place because it's not equal skill. So if Garou's already like demonstrably above him in skill and like there's nothing Garou be able to if there's nothing Goku will be able to do to like fucking instantly tap into the state, then my initial wit con, which was the Fajin, he would automatically just like Cell would automatically just get uh fucking his organs ruptured and wouldn't be able to fight.
Wait, why is Garo's skill good enough to actually interact with Goku with this mental state that just can't be attacked? Why would his skill, like, what's the argument for his skill being that good?
I mean, I don't think I don't think Garou has any way of fighting against people who can deflect and redirect energy and have complete understanding of energy when they come into contact with it.
What? Repeat that?
I'm saying I don't think Goku has any skill showcasing this level where he can fight against people who can redirect attacks that they can visibly see or can perceive. And I don't think he can contend people that can off of first punch and first glance can copy techniques and master and rewire and surpass them from what you initially did it. And I don't think he can stop like any form of redirection ability. Because if they're equal speed, Garou should be fast enough to at least deflect one of the blows, and that deflection is just gonna be a redirection of force, which is probably just gonna like cook him. And
Okay,
I could send you scans for that.
that's not the scans, but at the same time, right? If even though they're equal in speed, Goku's evasiveness and ability to move around, like you see in the fight that I said, like it's that evasiveness and ability to move around based on like the battle sense and mental state that made the fake Goku completely untouchable, right? So it's like that would the whole redirection shit only really matter. I don't know about the copying thing. I'll see the scan for that, but the redirection shit is only gonna matter if Garo can properly block or at least interact with the attack that's being thrown by Goku, right? which that's the problem. Like Goku has a mental state that allows him to be unaware.
Okay, but my point, the copying, it can, the copying can come in effect pre actually coming into contact with the attack. Like he can watch you do it and watch you move and be able to replicate and do whatever. Like in the Watchdog Man fight, in the scan I just sent chat, it's explained that the bang, the water streaming, rock smashing fist, it takes knowledge of flow and energy behind raging currents and tidal surges, and it directly says that after that, Garou, as an extension of using this ability, he's able to copy and absorb any technique. And it's, and if you see in the background, like the little flash panels, we see the panel of Garou copying Watchdog Man, and Watchdog Man completely shit on him. Like Garou didn't tag Watchdog Man at all. And the bottom one is the one with Bang when he copied his little whirling fish shit or whatever he did at that moment.
Well, the thing is, this kind of seems to illustrate two things. First off, it seems like him copying something doesn't inherently imply that he'll actually be able to copy it to the same degree, especially if he was getting still folded by Watchdog Man despite copying his shit, right? This is going to be the problem. Maybe he could copy what Goku's doing, but he wouldn't be able to copy it to the same degree. Furthermore,
I
right?
think okay,
Well, that's because
let me respond to the first part.
actually,
Can I respond
that's
to the
fine.
first part what you said?
That's fine. My bad.
Yeah, to you're good. To start off, I think the reason why he wasn't able to do anything against Watchdog Man is because there was an actual like stat detriment between them. Like Garou just was not fast enough to do anything, even copying the technique, because he still was able to use Watchdog Man's movements. In the forest, if you ever watch One Punch Man, have you ever watched One Punch Man?
I know the fight too, but
Okay, well, there's another fight where Garou fights like these A class and B class heroes in like a forest, and he just uses the technique there. So it's like he already knew it. It just like there's like the stat difference between them was like so vast. Like even if he had knowledge of the technique or know how to use it, it just wouldn't matter.
yeah. One sec. I'm looking at a clip right
Oh
now.
no, for the second part, yeah, Garou can copy and like master and surpass any techniques. Hold on, let me just send that scan. Send the bang fight or bomb fight.
Um, I'm looking at like a clip of Garou actually fighting Watchdog Man, and from what we can observe, it's at the very least his physical speed seems to be comparable to Garou.
No, well, one, the anime is not directly canon to the manga, and I'm using manga
Oh,
Garou. On
oh,
two, I doubt that's even true, but just for reference, I'm not using anime.
okay,
So,
let me see.
if you can find something in the manga that shows a reaction feed, then that's fine. But I don't think there is.
Okay. Uh, even okay, let's go. Even though Garou can copy shit, right? Can he actually copy what someone's doing to the same proficiency? Like he can do
Yes,
something. For example,
he.
Goku can copy the Kamehameha, but he could not do it to the same level that like Roshi could.
No, Garou. Yeah, I sent the scan in chat. He completely masters the technique as soon as he copies it.
Okay, that's fine. The problem I have with this is that what Goku, like the thing about what Goku is doing is that it's more so like a mental state. It's not like an actual physical technique in the sense of like a way of a way of what's it called, hand to hand. Like it's like a hand to hand combo that he's learning, like a 1-2 punch combo. What makes Goku's thing here so devastating is that it's the mental state of how he can actually apply moving his body, right? So it's like just because Garo can copy like the martial arts styles of people like Bang and shit, right? What and like Watchdog Man, why would he be able to copy Goku's mental state and his ability to basically have this like pseudo ultra instinct, honestly, which allows him to be
Well,
so
okay.
evasive?
My point is that the mental state contributes to the coordination of being that evasive. And I think if Garo can actually perceive this coordination, he'll be able to match it because he does the same thing with Watchdog Man. Like somebody who's like above him speed, he's able to like perceive and like move the same exact way. regardless of speed, is a matter of coordination and technique.
Goku's moves aren't decided by a certain like martial arts style or combination of
Well,
moves.
it's just
It's just
it's really just movement because that's what I'm saying. Because Watchdog Man, he's not necessarily doing martial arts. It's just the way he moves, and Garou can just
I
like
mean,
see things at a glance and do it. So I think with that, whatever like level of skill like he does, like if he's able to perceive and like he should be able to match it.
I think that the movements behind something like with Watchdog Man, obviously they don't go like too in depth into it, but clearly something unique from the standard human because he literally has a way of fighting like a fucking dog. But to use Bang as a better example as well, um, like it's not specifically indexed to just copying raw movements, but rather the style of movements, right? Like Garo's whole like flowing thing, Water Fist. He's able to copy that style of movements that
Well, okay,
Garo had.
well,
Or that Ben
wait,
was like
what do you think? What do you mean he's not copying raw movements, but he's copying the style of move? Like that's kind of the same thing.
he's
Like
not.
when you talk about style, well, let me elaborate. When you talk about style of technique, I'm assuming you're talking about the thing that makes the technique different from other techniques, which gives it its kind of own like uniqueness, which
What,
I don't think is different from saying he's just copying the movement and coordination. It's just a
yeah,
different one. Like if it said, uh-huh.
to better illustrate what I'm saying, there's a difference between like let's say you learn like Taekwondo, right? There's a difference between like learning Taekwondo from a master and learning how like learning the movements of Taekwondo, like the way to do certain kicks and punches, and then learning the mental state that your Taekwondo master applies in battle that allows him to use these movements in an efficient way that makes him even more deadly. Like there's a difference there. I'm saying that
The
the
point
form
is
the
the
form
okay,
yeah,
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I am saying that I don't think I don't think Goku's doing like even in the video I see he's not doing anything like completely out of the ordinary from just regular conventional martial arts. It just seems that he has an increase in skill, which I already established earlier, which is probably why he's winning. So it's not something extraordinary like that that I don't think Garou would not be able to copy. If it's something like outside the realms of like regular conventional movement, I still don't even think that would matter. But my point is that if Garou can see the attack, he should be able to replicate it and do the same exact thing based off of what it said.
I'm
And
just
If Goku in combat, he's using martial arts, which is that's literally how Garou's explained the fight. He copies martial arts off a glance.
it's again it's not like Goku's movements are the problem. It's the fact of where they originate from, right? Like ways of movement that originate from like a rigid style of how one moves or like a martial arts, let's say, is different than movements that just purely originate from such a clear mental state. That's what Goku achieved. It's not like Goku achieved a whole new martial art or learned like a new martial art from someone like in some karate or some bullshit. He just cleared his head and was able to achieve a better battle sense that way through having a clearer mind to adapt to his surroundings. That's different from being able to copy a certain like formula of movements one has. Because if anything, what Goku's doing is counterintuitive to just having a formula of movements. It's moving in the ideal way, adapting to one situation because you have a clear head.
I get I get your point, but my point is that whatever mental state you're talking about that Goku has to tap into is gonna ultimately lead to this level and this style of movements, which allowed him to outscale the clone Goku in the first place, which is just not that much different from regular like movement from like a human or like a Saiyan, we should say, I guess. But just doing just martial arts and just showing like an outstanding like or just like a superior level of skill. Because if you have it like I think me and you can both agree like obviously like you can be like relative, but if you like outmatched in skill, like yeah you can like evade most attacks and be able to deflect and do whatever. But we can move on.
I'll just like finish and like learn the way that Goku's moving, right? It wouldn't really matter if he doesn't understand how that's being achieved because he can't like there's no proof that he could actually just copy that mental state. If he can't do that, right, then just learning how Goku moves wouldn't work because how Goku moves is subject to change based on how the course of the fight can go because it's all derived on what's most ideal for the situation. It's not like a certain rigid set of movements, like a certain martial arts style, like a certain type of punch or kick or block, like something like karate or the fuck like Bang and Watchdog Man know how to do. It's not like a set of movements that he can copy. It's just a mental state that will cause Goku to move in varying ways, unique ways. So that's why like I don't really think Garou can copy it.
You don't think it takes a level of focus to access any type of movement, or like a level of like mental state to access like any type of movement?
No, I'm not disagreeing with that.
Okay, yeah, we can move on then.
Yeah, that's fine. Is that it? Please tell me it is.
Yeah.
Oh, thank goodness. All right, someone save the wreck. I'll do this. Okay.